Hi, Dr. Dan. This is Project One for the weather program V2. I'm Eric, and I'm here with Marta and Michael, and we're here to show our project code and also demo the weather program.
Okay, so starting off with the main file. So this serves as the entry point for the program, and then it includes necessary libraries like the M5 Core 2, and then getting it connected to Wi-Fi, the NPT client, and then the Wi-Fi UDP. And then it also has some custom headers for like the weather display and the zip code editing. And then we also made sure to include global variables that we would use in other files within this program. So kind of like just going through here, you can see like that's where we set up the Wi-Fi. And then this is actually connecting to the Wi-Fi and making sure that that was all working. And we were able to pull data from our APIs. And then this was setting up the Wi-Fi, and you can kind of see the order in which the program was compiled. And this is like us getting the current zip code and things like that. And then this is the loop where we're actually controlling the screen of the M5 Core 2. And when we're drawing, and then you can see our if statements as to like we're only redrawing if it's needed. So it's not like fuzzy and things like that. And then we're also checking for touch. And then we're also checking to see if the user wants to edit the zip code. And yeah, that's kind of the general overview of the main file.
All right, I'm going to be showing the weather display. So here we have our weather display. I'll go ahead and show our header first. So here we are actually defining our weather display class. We're importing a couple libraries. And here we're just defining a couple public variables and functions, and then some private variables as well. And this is mostly just data that we're pulling from the Open Weather API. And then we're just defining our functions, our private and public functions. So if we go to our weather display, so here we can see that a lot of our constructors and functions are extending our weather display header. So here we're just constructing the weather display, and we're setting some default values. And then here we're initializing our weather display with our API key. And then we're setting our screen to black. And then this function here is our HTTP GET request. So this actually interfaces with the API. And we're passing in our server URL that we build down here. And we're beginning that. And then we're essentially gathering the payload from the HTTP request. And then we have some error handling. And then further down, we have our update weather function. So this is what actually updates the data from the weather API. And we're passing in a zip code. And here we're building our server URL in the specific format that the API needs. And then here we're gathering our response using the HTTP GET request method. And then here we are doing some JSON parsing. And we're just parsing the data from the API, doing some error handling. And here we're just extracting some key elements from the JSON object, like the weather, the main, and the icon, name, temp min, and temp max. And then here we're just printing all that out. And then below that, we have our draw method. And so this is what actually draws the different elements on the screen. So we're passing in is Fahrenheit. And then here we are just setting the background color based on if it's day or night. And we're setting our different colors accordingly. And then here we are running our draw weather image function. And this just draws the icon. And then here we're just setting some padding. And then here we're just drawing some elements on the screen. So we're drawing our low temperature, our current temperature, high, and then our city name, and then our last sync timestamp, our F and C toggle, and then our edit zip button. And then below that, here we have a check toggle button press. So this checks if the toggle button is pressed, and we have some debouncing using last toggle time in millis. And we have a debounce of 300 milliseconds. And then here we're just checking if the M5 is touched. And if that's the case, then we can get the positions, and then we just verify that it's been pressed in our specific coordinates where we have that actual button on the screen. And then similarly, we have that with the zip code button. And then below that, we're actually drawing the weather image. And this is using the bitmap that we have. Um, and so that's what this get weather bitmap function is calling. And then we just have a null check, and then we gather the dimensions of the screen, and then we set our offsets so that we can position the icon correctly. And then here we're just iterating through the icon's bitmap data, and then drawing out the pixels. We're gathering the pixel number from all the specific pixels that we're iterating through. And then we're using PGM reword to gather the pixel color. And then we just check if it's transparent. And if it is, then we go ahead and exit out. And if not, then we iterate through the resize multiplier. Um, and then we gather our X draw, Y draw, and then we go ahead and draw the pixel with those values and then the pixel color as well. And that is about it for the weather display.
Hello, my name is Marta, and I worked on the zip edit file, and I'll go share my screen and go over my code. Just let me know if you guys can see my screen. Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect. Okay, so for this file, we first with this code we set the default zip code and we initialized all digital values to 0. And over here, we are initializing the UI. This function is setting the starting zip code and lays out the position and sizes of the buttons and the save button onto the screen. And this code is setting the zip code. It updates the internal zip string and extracts each digit into an array. If the new string is exactly 5 characters long, that's how long a zip code is. And then for this code, it is getting the zip code, which reconstructs the zip code from the digits array and returns it as a string. And this is for the UI display for our LCD, where it's showing, it's printing for our main screen. It is clearing the screen and redraws the entire user interface, including buttons and digits. As you can see, this is for the button, for the digits, and stuff like that. And this is for the save button. And then we go over here, and this is what determines if a given point is inside a specific rectangle. And then over here, we check for touch events on the up and down buttons, and then we adjust correspondingly, and we denounce with a delay, refresh, and a display right here. And then we are checking here if the save button is pressed. If the save button is pressed, it returns and saves as true. If not, it just saves as false. And that is how it's saving the zip code. Yeah.